Okay, so everyone, today we are welcoming another episode of Authors Interview, Mrs. Swamini Chopra. She is a brilliant researcher with accolades in cryogenics and a dynamic fiction writer also who brings magic to these both science and storytelling. So please could you tell about yourself more about your journey as a writer and about your books?
I would like to introduce myself. I'm Swamini Chopra Salame, and presently I'm associate dean at one of the engineering institutes in our city. But when it comes to writing and fiction, I have always had an inclination to writing from childhood. It might sound a bit cliched, but J.K. Rowling is the biggest inspiration. I started reading Harry Potter when I was 13. My mother bought those books for me, so that is where my journey started and inspired me to write as well. So that's how I find myself in this field.
Oh, another Harry Potter fan. We all are in the same boat. Okay. As you are, as a researcher and having a stellar career in cryogenics and material engineering. So, how did it shift? As you told that you always inclined towards reading and writing. So, was it really hard for you to be
Um,
from having a career to suddenly shift towards writing?
no, I am able to correlate both the things very nicely. So in research also, once what you work, you need to give it out to the public. You need to publish your findings. So there also the writing part is involved. So irrespective of the area which I work in, whatever work I do, we also have a 9 to 5 job. So whatever R&D we do, experiments we conduct, I work with my students. So whatever our findings, again we need to write those down. So writing is an integral part of my career as well. So I am lucky enough to correlate both my career and my hobbies in this way, where I can write and improve both my language, my work, as well as my hobbies.
And tell us about your books. People really want to know the book you have wrote.
The book presently I have published one book which is first part of Wars and Wings saga. So Wars and Wings saga is a series of 4 parts where one will see the journey of a young girl named Tia Tandon. The first book which has been published is The Incomplete Journey of Three Women. So it starts with Tia's normal life, a routine life, which I have correlated the character with me. She's also an engineering student studying in a engineering college. But she is going through some emotional turmoil. Her parents' pressure to make an engineering career, which average Indian parents find is reputed. Rather than going into the art, or usually what Tia's mother says to her that writing is an art, you don't earn with writing. So that's what she has to face. So part one is about her journey, how she navigates her emotions, whether she wants to stay in the engineering field, whether she wants to pursue writing. She's also in the double mind that I don't want to disappoint my parents and I'll just let my hobbies go. But things become weird for her when some dreams start. She starts having some weird dreams, headaches, and she realizes that her dreams itself is having a story. So she navigates through that also, that what is the story, who are the three women in her stories. So the name Incomplete Journey of Three Women, and what are the individual journeys of those three women.
Okay, so as you told that you read books from your teenage, and I have what I have. We have talked, and I just got to know that you wrote as a teenager. So was it hard for you to know from going back again and publishing a book which you wrote at that time?
Yeah, I this particular The Incomplete Journey of Three Women, I started writing when I was 14. I started writing, then the storyline at that time was completely different.
Mhm.
I was trying to express what I was going through during that time. But then after a couple of years when I was in engineering and I proceeded to third part, so I realized that first part is somewhere being lost in a very monotonous and daily kind of thing. And the reason I read books is to escape from realism. So
Okay.
when I went back to the editing of part one, I omitted a lot of realism from that, and I put the twist of magic and a utopian world where magic can solve your issues. You can take the help of magic and some good friends with whom you are learning magic, and you can make a very good life around yourself. So editing the first part was a major task for me, revisiting it after 9-10 years.
It's like from fiction, you just shift towards fantasy writing, just a normal contemporary fiction to fantasy writing. So is fantasy writing always you really love writing that, or in future also you're going to write that, the fantasy writing, or are you going to pursue some other genres?
Presently, I'm writing fantasy parts only, like the Wars and Wings series is completed, and there is a second novel that I'm working on that is also a fantasy fiction genre. So I like that. We discussed. I'm a Harry Potter fan. I'm also a Percy Jackson fan. So having that escape from realism, a hope that magic can solve it for us, or there is some energy which can solve our problems, whether it is magic or hope. So that has always been of my interest for reading as well as for writing.
Okay, so as you know, you told about Tia Tandon. So it's like, yeah, you told that it's kind of inspired from you.
Yeah.
Like you wrote your point of your story. Like she wants to be a writer, as you are already a writer. She was an engineer, and you are working as an engineer. So are there any more characters which like inspired from your surroundings?
The main protagonist in the story is Alan Kadri. I won't disclose much about the story. I would like readers to enjoy through the process. But the main protagonist, when I wrote him, there was a completely different characteristic. He was somewhat arrogant, that he's the best student in the school. He had that air of arrogance, and he was a bit possessive, but in a harming or aggressive kind of way towards his girl. But then I have been lucky enough that I married my best friend. I have known my husband for 10 years before marrying him. So when I revisited the part 1 before publishing 2-3 years back, at that time I reframed the entire character of Alan into what my husband's qualities are. So yes, my husband is possessive, but I have removed the aggressive part, the arrogance part, and the Alan has become more understanding character, and the one who is more emotionally connected with others around him. So that is one of the characters which has been inspired from my real life.
It's like that Alan also just build it character during as the story goes.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you follow any structured writing routine, or you're just like, I got an idea, I'm going to jot it down at that moment?
Yeah, that's how I work. I don't have any structured writing, juggling between career and 2 kids. I don't have that time. Take your laptop and sit and write. So I have a diary and pen by my bed all the time. So if something pops into my mind, even if I cannot write immediately, I note down the pointers. That this is how the story proceeds. And when I get time, I sit and I elaborate those points.
So, as you know, being a researcher and then professor and now a writer and a mother too, how are you balancing all these kind of things, your life and everything?
See, it's what I think it is about how you take out your time for things you love. Writing has been it has been close to my heart since childhood. I love reading and writing. Even if I cannot, previously I used to sit 4-5 hours and read a book in a go. But even if I cannot do that, when I get 10 minutes, I read, I write. So that is what I love. My kids are my life. So I can keep everything safe for my kids. And fortunately enough, I am working in the area which I like, which is my passion, doing R&D in materials engineering, working premium industries in the area. So I juggle my 24 hours in all of these things. So whenever I get time, all these 3 things are always simultaneously in my mind. If I get a free time, immediately I see if my kids need me more or if my writing needs me more, and I do that. There's no planning for the day. It's spontaneous, everything.
So you just, at this moment, whatever that's more important, you just focus on that area more rather than, okay, that's really good, I think, because you never know if you're working or you're writing and suddenly your kids needs you. So you can't just, have a very planned kind of writing or planned kind of working at that moment. Okay. So, as I was talking, and the Wars and Wings saga delves into more into the themes of identity and destiny. So what do you want readers to learn or grabs from the story which you have wrote?
Uh, uh, Written story not from a moral standpoint. I want people to enjoy it like people enjoyed Harry Potter, where you can imagine a new world where you can explore the possibilities. The moral or one lesson which I would like others to take from Tia's life is to not let go of your dreams. If you love something, if you have passion for something, yes, there are responsibilities in today's life. There is competition, there are a lot of responsibilities, but it is up to you how you take out time for your hobbies or to do what you love. So as many of the people say, make in a career what you love. So either you do that or in your responsible life you take out some time and do not let your dreams go, because that frustration, you cannot come back from that frustration of letting go of your dreams. So even if it is 10 minutes in a day, you should always take out time for what you love. That is what I would.
By talking to you, I just learned that sometimes people say that make your hobby your job a career, which but from what I've learned from you as we're talking, I just just got to know that it's not always like you can make your hobby as your passion, a career also. Sometimes hobbies and what you love doing as a career are two different aspects, right? So how do you tell the youth about this, that many are struggling about this thing, that hobby should be only the career, and how should we manage between careers and hobbies?
It is not compulsory that every time. There are many hurdles. The biggest hurdle is economic support. So today's youth, it's very difficult to convert your hobby into your job or to find a job in your area of interest. What I would like, I am an engineering teacher. From 6 years, I am dealing with youths, 20, 21 years, who are very confused that we did not want to come in this line, but due to family pressure or due to family expectations. So, yes, we are responsible towards them as parents. But as I said, first make your identity. Once you are a stand-alone entity where you have completed all your responsibilities, your parents are happy, don't be a people pleaser, but we have some duties towards our parents. So while doing that, take some time for yourself. Don't immerse yourself completely into that 9 to 5 job. That once you get out of the office at 5 o'clock, stop thinking about work. That time you have to utilize for what you like to do, what you love to do. So that's how you micromanage your life. You have 24 hours. I always say this to my son: you should always work on the hand of the clocks.
Okay.
Your office ends at 5 o'clock, no work after that. Your schools ends at 2 o'clock. Let's not worry about study after 2 o'clock. So this is how you can manage between your responsibilities as well as your interest.
That's really good advice. Many youths are still struggling about this thing, and not only youths, even the people who are in their 30s also, who are working and doing corporate job, and after they're like, oh shit, should we follow our hobby at this moment of time, or should that's a really good advice to all these people. Thank you so much for letting us know. As you are a scientific expert and doing R&Ds on. So is there any element is incorporated in your writing also?
From technology point of view, I have not added anything sci-fi or fiction thing in my stories. It is the culture of research which I have inculcated in me throughout the years, that shows in writing also. I first write what comes into my mind, what I feel emotionally connected with. I write that. After that, I start researching. Because if I start researching things beforehand, my storyline is completely changed. I have tried that as well. So what I do is I write what I feel, whatever is flowing through my mind. I write it first, and then when revising the draft or when rereading it, then I start that should I take this geographic location? Can I conduct this situation in this location? Then what season or what month are we talking about? It is rainy. Is it rainy season? So then after that, I start researching. So I first write what I feel like, and then I start micro researching it, that how I can refine the writing.
So it's like some of your expertise in research and physics and science is really like not much, but it's some point is getting incorporated in your writing. And that's really nice. And as we talked, and you are the part of also the TLB community. I'm also the part of that. So how are you feeling being the part of the community?
This is a very good. I have recently joined the TLB community from last 3 weeks, but there is a vast treasure of ideas to discuss with people. So this is a very good digital platform, and today we are in digital world, so the access has become very easy. So if you look 3-4 years back, I had a very difficult time choosing between publishers and then getting in contact with them, and then sending my draft and discussing the possibilities. But in TLB community, not only publishing part but exchange of ideas and then understanding what the readers are expecting, so that connect has improved. And I have seen age spectrum throughout the TLB community. So there are teenagers and there are people even in their 50s who are now starting writing as their second career option. So it is a very good platform which I have got to know, and I'm promoting it through my students. I'm a mentor of literature club in my institute. So I'm mentoring first year students. So apart from engineering, we take some hobby related activities. So I have started sharing about the TLB platform, that this is a very good online platform where you can join through Instagram, through WhatsApp, and you can explore your hobbies. So if you want to writing, there are some guidance available there. So I have started telling my students about it, how you can be a part of this community and learn something at the end of the day. So this is a very good that I've got a chance to be a part of, and I'm doing my best to tell my students how efficiently you can be a part of the same as well.
Thank you so much for that. And one more question I want to ask. As you know, many new authors or debut authors are confused at whether they should go for self-publishing or persuade some good publishing house. So what should be the good advice for from you to them?
As a author, it depends upon our capacity as well. So I'll give a very practical answer to this. Self-publishing is economically friendly, but then reaching out to the market, capturing the audience is very difficult because you alone are doing everything, right from editing, proof, publishing, then putting out to the market, marketing, selling. You're doing everything, and sometimes that can be hectic or that cannot be efficient enough. You cannot expect one person to do everything. That is why we have a concept of team. So if you have a very good publishing team, even if it is your local publishing team, you have at least 2-3 people attached with you who will help you with proofreading, who will help you reach out to the markets, who has some online presence in the digital world. So for people in 30s like me, our generation, we are not very tech savvy. So we don't know how to present on online platforms. So for people like me, having a publishing team with myself is very easy. So I don't worry about marketing of my books because my publishing team, my publisher, Apna publisher. So I have the representative Akib in contact with me. So he looks after the marketing part. So I'm not much dealing with that. I deal with the editing team, proofreading team. So my burden is lessened. And that is an economic option for me. So based on your capacity as an author, you should juggle between both the options and see what suits you. If you cannot alone manage everything, accept the fact, a team with yourself. So take people with yourself, make a team, and do the best of all the options.
The burden of getting approached by publishers is also on the new authors. And do you really think that in the starting only they should go for the big publishing house in the market, the top tags are there, or we can go for some mediocre publishing house also?
In today's digital world, what I find is that the reputation of publishing, yes, it is important if you want to reach physical markets, but when we go to the age of digital platform, both mediocre as well as some well-established publishers have very good media connect. So depending on your capacity, whether you can afford the publisher or not, you can go for mediocre publishing house. That is what I have done. So they have a good media connect, they have good promotion platforms. So one can always choose depending on their capacity.
Okay, no, that's it. Because I have talked with many coming authors who are writing their books, and they always are, in a dilemma. That feel, how should they do it? Should they go for self-publishing or some, small publishing house, or just approach the top tiers in the industry? So I always suggest them just go and ask to the other authors who have done that. Because I'm just a reader and I don't have much knowledge about that. But thank you, at least many people would know that how should they be doing this in the coming future. Thanks for telling to the youths. And what are your advice to the youth who wants to be be a writer, or just started writing, or have their career in this field?
I would like to tell them one thing, that be true to yourself. Irrespective of the that you're writing, whether it is fiction or realism or it is poetry, always be true to yourself. Write what you feel like. Because I have been doing for last 10 years both academic writing as well as R&D writing. So today we have a lot of digital tools to help us. AI is our biggest helping hand today, but writing is all about creativity. You should write as a writer. My suggestion particularly will be, do not depend much on AI. This is what I tell to my students as well. For writing their assignments, for writing their essays, don't use AI. Because readers who are hardcore readers, they can easily identify whether writing is by an author himself or whether it is AI writing. So if you want to make your place in the hearts of the readers, if you want to make your identity in the field you are writing, you should always be true to yourself. Write what you feel like, what you think is right. You have to write that. Do not depend on technology much. That is my suggestion.
Okay, as you talked about the AIs, and also, do you think that AI is kind of, just diminishing the writing, the creative writing, which we love to see, that more people are inclined towards AI only?
Yeah, AI is adversely affecting creative writing because it is not about language. Nobody is checking or judging your English. That are you writing your English, or as a first time writer, is your English at par with publisher writers who are not from India? What you are expressing, is your idea going towards the reader? Is your reader emotionally connecting with your story? That should be the goal of a writer, as a writer. So AI, yes, AI is obviously because when I wrote the story, I have 6 registers with me, still handwritten. I have few friends who are very good artists, sketch artists, and they have big drawing books and canvases with them. So that gives some different confidence when you are doing everything yourself. And AI, through the ages, now through the years, the AI is reducing that creativity. So we are becoming very heavily dependent on AI and those tools.
Okay, so last question I just want to ask. So could you please tell us the other stories coming to the market, the books you are writing, and how they are coming to the market, and when?
So the second part of Wars and Wings, the first part is Incomplete Journey of Three Women. Presently available on different platforms: Amazon, Kindle, Flipkart, Google Play Books. You can access them from different platforms. Second part of the book is Stuck, Friendship and Conspiracy, which is going to come out in April. So within 3 months. I am planning it on 22nd April. That is the birth date of my mother. So we are planning to launch in April 2025. That will be the second part of Wars and Wings. Immediately after that, I will start editing and proofreading the third part, which people can expect by next year, by the end of 2026. And then fourth part, we will see how we progress, and the fourth part comes in market. Along with that, I also have one more story written, Half Soul Girl. So I'm proofreading it right now. That was written almost 6-7 years back. So I'm coming back to its proofreading, and I'm trying something new for that. Okay. Instead of going for a back novel, I'm thinking of converting that story into a visual story, probably in form or some digital comic or video form. So I'm exploring those areas as well. So that is new area for me as well, and I'm thinking of capturing more youth by that, because today's youth is more interested in comics,
Yeah.
anime, and so I'm thinking whether I would be able to convert that story into some visual form.
Okay, that I'm really waiting for the books which you have written and just coming, the War and Wings whole saga and another story you're writing. But what I have really seen and I'm really liking about you, the story you haven't written, just now. You have written, teenagers and the early 20s, and you are working right now on them again. Like many people have dreams of doing this and hobbies, and they just forget it after some point of time. But you are like, no, I am working, I am earning. That doesn't mean I can't just pursue my hobby. And you're just going again back, bringing the story again to the table. You are just not helping yourself by revisiting and working, but you are helping the youth also to know that there's a point of time you should you should again go for your hobbies. Not only youth, but also the people who are in their 30s and 40s, that there's no age limit for following your hobbies. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
I really love talking to you and know your journey as a researcher also, as you have done so much in your field also. You got accolades and you have been acknowledged by the American Institute also. And as a fiction and fantasy writer, we are looking forward to your books, and thank you for being the part of the interview and allow us to talk to you and be inspired by you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Megha. I would also like to thank TLB for giving this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to explore myself more through the TLB community. So a big thanks to them, and thank you, Megha, for today.